It's not bragging if you do what you say you're gonna do. So, and you know, like when people say, when you know, bumps and bruises come with the sport of boxing.
I'm telling you, this version of Tank is gonna be dangerous, bruh. If you know about boxing, come on, it is Gervonta Davis, bruh.
Floyd Mayweather is reportedly shocked by Gervonta Davis's intense training ahead of the Lamont Roach rematch. Davis looked terrifying as he unleashed fast combination punches in camp. His sharp movement and power have stunned even longtime supporters, signaling he's entering the rematch with serious intent to dominate completely. While Gervonta Davis trains intensely, Lamont Roach is also putting in hard work at camp. Both fighters are preparing seriously for their rematch, pushing their limits to sharpen skills and build strength. This dedication from both sides promises an exciting and fiercely competitive showdown in the ring.
Lamont Roach in training camp, ready for one of the biggest rematches in 2025 against Gervonta Tank Davis, one of the biggest faces of boxing. What a man.
Many observers think that Tank Davis's poor showing in his first fight with Lamont Roach wasn't just about his opponent, but largely about Davis's personal struggles. Tank himself openly shared that he was going through a tough time mentally and physically, admitting he wanted therapy and even considered stepping away from boxing altogether. Despite these inner battles, he chose to face Roach. Now, the rematch is a chance for Tank to demonstrate his true talent and prove that his previous performance didn't reflect his full ability when he is in peak condition.
He wants to do therapy. He wants to do real estate. They want to say he wasn't all in because him and Roach are friends, and he's going to be focused for the second fight. A lot of excuses. They want to say it's because of the braids, you know, the oil getting in his eye, whatever. This is what really happened. And I just now came to this conclusion because I've been making some other videos for Patreon, but Lamont Roach posted a video recently on
The first fight clearly revealed some cracks in Tank Davis's armor as Lamont Roach identified and exploited weaknesses in Tank's defense and stamina. The upcoming rematch is pivotal, as it will uncover whether that initial bout was simply an off night for Tank or if his power and effectiveness have diminished over time. The pressure is high for Tank to reclaim his status, and silence critics questioning his strength and readiness.
I don't know if Lamont Roach exposed weaknesses of Tank Davis. It very much reminds me of Rolly Romero versus Ryan Garcia. What Roach did, Rolly was doing the same thing. He ended up implementing it better against Ryan Garcia. Tank was having huge issues, and that's the Black Two Sugars. Watch me call that fight. I started laughing. I couldn't believe it because all he was patient with good power. All Roach was patient. He stayed focused. That's why him drinking and partying and shit is messing with me, because he beat him here. He stayed so damn focused, and he knew when Tank was going to punch. He knew when not to punch, and when he countered Tank, he rocked Tank. Tank got rocked at least twice that fight.
Floyd Mayweather has been skeptical about the legitimacy of Tank Davis's power, however. Recent training videos showing Tank's intense drills and explosive combinations have visibly surprised Mayweather. The footage reveals a fighter more focused and potent than many expected, forcing Floyd to reconsider his doubts and acknowledge Tank's evolving skill set and readiness to perform at a high level.
When is Gervonta Davis going to go somewhere in the pound for pound? Anui deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. Do Terrence Crawford deserve to be in the pound for pound? Absolutely. But what about Gervonta Tank Davis? I mean, he deserved to be somewhere also in the pound for pound.
Why don't they give him that credit?
Because he was affiliated with me.
The connection between Floyd Mayweather and Tank Davis has been strained for years, marked by disagreements over career choices and training methods. Floyd openly expressed reservations about Tank taking the rematch with Roach, believing it was a risky move. Yet after watching Tank train for this fight, Floyd appears taken aback by the level of determination and focus Tank shows. Davis knows this bout is crucial to preserving his reputation. A loss this time would leave no room for excuses, making the stakes higher than ever.
When Floyd left Bob Arum, it's good for them to do it and become their own boss. And then if another guy does it, it's not good for the sport. He's disloyal. And what's wrong with Tank saying he want to be his own boss? And honestly, I've been there. The relationship between them two is very toxic. It's a toxic relationship. It's up and down and up and down. And I'm not going to elaborate to everything that I know, but it's a very toxic relationship. And that's why when I tweet stuff, I don't tweet often, but when I tweet, I may fire off 50 tweets in the day. And that's why when I tweeted certain things about the relationship, Tank retweeted it because he knows. Like, I'm not just going to say what it is. It's a very toxic relationship. It's back and forth. And I think it will serve him best to go and be his own boss.
Many experts argue that the hype surrounding Roach's performance in the first fight is somewhat overstated. Tank Davis's knee came down due to impaired vision after grease got in his eyes, rather than a direct knockout punch from Roach. This nuance means the fight was not as dominant a win for Roach as some portray. Now Tank prepares to return stronger and more ferocious, warning boxing fans that this revamped version of himself is a force to be reckoned with, a fighter whose danger inside the ring should not be underestimated.
People keep saying like Lamont dang near like beat Tank like clean. Like basically like we seen it like, yeah, he did Tank that one, but like Tank was limping out the ring. Bro, he didn't even get over on Tank for real. Y'all only saying that because Tank took the knee. And when Tank took the knee, it wasn't how like Ryan Garcia was when he took the knee once Tank went to his body. It was like, dang, like I'm taking him and get right back up. Can you do that in boxing? No. But y'all can't say that basically that, oh yeah, he won because of the knee. That shows that people just want to see Tank lose, bruh. Cause y'all betting y'all money on basically Tank losing because of that knee. Yes, it was a good fight. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. Lamont was defending himself like he's skilled. But bruh, he ain't walk all over Tank. Tank, bruh, if y'all go back and watch the highlights, I just watched the highlights last night. Them last couple of rounds, bruh, Lamont was balled up. Tank was literally, he was trying, like you could tell Tank was like, dang, I waited too long. So he was trying to throw some stuff like to make sure he get that one blow, but it didn't work. So that's why they doing that rematch so they could start over from scratch, round 1 to round 12. We gonna start over clean and let's see what's going on now. Now y'all want to be saying, oh no, man, I ain't gonna lie. At the end of the day, the first fight is what matters. No, it don't. Tank was, look, he real enough to say, hey, bro, let's do a rematch. Now, if he ain't do a rematch, he's like, oh, yeah, something going on. Nah, hush, hush. Hey, Calvin, step to the side. Let me get somebody else right now. I'm going to be hush. Let me get back in the gym and put my hat on. And we go at it again. And I'm not going to lie. I'm telling you, this version of Tank is going to be dangerous, bro. If you know about boxing, come on, it is Gervonta Davis, bro. Dude is a beast. You think he finna walk around with that on his resume that he almost got cooked by Lamont Roach? Bruh, if he doing a rematch, he doing it for a reason. He's about to make an example out of him. I'm sorry to tell y'all. And Lamont, you're skilled. But the fact that you keep on trying to just pull that up, like that one knee. I beat him because of that one knee. You know, I don't care if he had grease in his eye or not. I whooped him because of that. Bruh, that's how you know he don't got confidence that he's a better fighter than Tank. The fact that he's trying to, because he know that chance comes once in a lifetime. That's why he's so big on trying to, go back and play the tape.
Remarkably, even critics and those not normally supporters of Tank Davis predict his clear victory in the rematch. The consensus is that Tank is fully focused and motivated since this fight directly impacts his legacy. Unlike before, Tank isn't distracted by other opponents or fights. He is zeroed in on Roach. This singular focus is what many believe will lead to Tank reclaiming dominance and putting his career back on track.
Breaking news from Mike Coppinger, Tank vs. Roach rematch has been booked for August 16th, I want to say. This fight's going to take place in Las Vegas, so no, Tank will not be fighting Jake Paul. He will not be looking at any further opponents. He's going to be fighting Lamont Roach once more. What does this mean for Tank? What does this mean for Roach? Not much. I mean, it's a rematch. Tank lost the first fight. He got to get it back, I guess. What are my predictions for this fight? I'm going to go domination by Gervonta Davis. I'm not a big Tank fan, but I don't like Roach whatsoever as a boxer. It's going to take a little bit more from Roach for me to just think that he's on the level of Tank. Like I always say, we have 25-plus fights with Lamont Roach. He's never looked like a great fighter. I don't think this fight alone makes him a great fighter. I don't think he's going to carry this momentum on into the rematch. I'm going to go Gervonta Davis, brutal, typical knockout fashion. I'm expecting Roach to vacate his 130 title, stop holding up that division. I'm expecting him to make a legit campaign at 135 after being knocked out. But you guys let me know, who do y'all got in the rematch? Did you even want to see this rematch? You guys let me know.
After controversial referee decisions in the initial fight, fans and analysts demand that the rematch be overseen by an impartial official. The previous referee, Steve Willis, faced accusations of bias favoring Davis, which cast doubt on the fairness of the outcome. Roach's camp has explicitly requested that Willis not return for the rematch. The hope is for a clean, unbiased officiating that will allow the bout to be decided strictly by the fighter's skill and performance, removing any lingering controversy.
You know, obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own. You know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right.
But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fucking around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But you, it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on,
Take no
ref.
time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that nigga.
Yeah.
You know how many
put Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben after that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. Right. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that.
Right.
That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref gonna be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Following the first bout, Davis offered some unexpected explanations for his disappointing showing. One of his excuses involved blaming his hairdresser for grease getting into his eyes, which many fans found bizarre. This was seen as an attempt to downplay Roach's efforts and avoid giving his opponent deserved credit. Such justifications caused some skepticism among fans, prompting questions about whether Tank's mindset was fully committed and focused as he prepared for the rematch.
We got to talk about it. So, Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against a Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was gonna look at them like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims, got all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Recent training footage reveals Gervonta Davis working diligently in the gym, showcasing remarkable precision and fluid movement. The initial fight shone a spotlight on Tank Davis's reputation for choosing opponents who play into his style and strengths, a tactic often criticized in boxing circles. For years, Davis faced accusations of avoiding tougher challengers. Lamont Roach disrupted that pattern by showing up prepared, disciplined, and tactically sharp. This approach exposed Tank's vulnerabilities and showed that his usual game plan might not be enough against an opponent who refuses to back down or be outmatched.
That fight with Tank and Lamont Roach shows y'all how protected Tank has been for the past several years. And the people saying, oh, Tank know Lamont and he been respected Lamont because they fought in the amateurs. Man, he was cherry picking Lamont, and really thought he was gonna get that win. But Lamont wasn't coming to play around. He stood his ground and fought back. And to be honest, he won the fight. The rematch is gonna be a knockout.
Some prominent boxing voices like Gary Russell Jr. disagree with the narrative that Roach clearly won the first fight. Russell argues that Roach matched Tank, but didn't decisively outperform him to claim an outright victory. According to him, to dethrone a champion of Davis's level, an opponent must demonstrate clear superiority throughout the fight, something Roach fell short of achieving.
He's 100% correct. Personally, I had Gervonta Davis up a round. Because whenever you have rounds where nobody's doing anything, I'm not just going to do what most people do, and especially people that don't like Gervonta Davis, which is just give the round to the other guy because Gervonta Davis didn't manage to knock him out that round. Okay, so this is Gary Russell Jr. clearly saying, man, no, I don't think Lamont Roach won that fight. You also had Al Bernstein, and Al Bernstein, I'm telling you, is a very, very straight, fair guy. Who I don't know if he was on that call, but he used to work with Showtime. I don't know if he was on there. I don't recall if I heard him. I think it was Rolly Ronaldo that was calling it. But Al Bernstein, who was a very, very objective person, said, hey, look, no. Sorry to break it to you, but Gervonta Davis won that fight. Yeah, Lamont Roach put up a really good fight, but Lamont Roach was not dynamic. He did not do anything to really separate himself from Gervonta Davis. He just kept it equal. He just tried to keep it even the entire fight. And that's not enough, again, to take the belt from the champion. Now, I do want to say that the people that thought that Lamont Roach won, I don't have any problem with that. I really don't have a problem with it at all. I personally, again, had a point for Gervonta Davis, but I could see how those swing rounds really could go, depending on who's looking at it, really could go different ways, right? But I had him winning. The Larry Hazard, who was the ref, who was calling it on the air, the Showtime scores, not the show, the Amazon Prime scores, had Gervonta Davis winning, I think, 115, 113.
Jeff Mayweather, a longtime ally and trainer of Gervonta Davis, gave his honest take on the first fight. He noted that Lamont Roach was the more active fighter, throwing and connecting with more punches than Tank. Jeff admitted surprise at Davis's struggles, acknowledging that Tank did not fight up to his usual standards. Based on his analysis, Jeff felt Roach's effort might have been sufficient to earn a deserved victory, which added complexity to the discussions around the fight's outcome.
I think that's the worst decision I think I might have ever seen. I don't know how that's not a knockdown. But anyway, thoughts on the overall fight first, Jeff?
I think that it was a good fight on both sides, and I do think that Roach actually won the fight. I thought he outworked Tank. I thought that he threw more punches than Tank. It seemed like Tank was fighting like he always do. It just seemed like he was just waiting for him to figure out whoever was in front of him like he always do and then go to work. But this time when he went to work, the guy went to work back. So, he had somebody that was firing back at him. It's the same way.
Yeah. I think the commentators and most of us at home thought, kind of the same thing. You thought Roach would bank some of those early rounds to prepare for the onslaught later. And when it didn't really happen, it was pretty even. We said, well, this is going to be a one-sided fight. But yeah, it never happened. And Roach, through the latter half of the fight, actually seemed to do better than the first half.
I thought he did good pretty much all the way through the fight. There was a few rounds where he didn't do that well, but I thought he won the fight clearly. I didn't see Gervonta really the Gervonta that I know. I'm a big Gervonta fan, but I didn't see none of the Gervonta that I'm used to seeing.
Why do you think that is? Roach was pretty lightly, valued coming into the fight, moving up a weight class. It's not somebody that they expected to give him a huge challenge. What do you think it was that Roach presented to Tank that made it so difficult for him?
The one thing is that he fought at the right distance, and he let his hands go, and that's the most important part. Is that's how you win a fight, by letting your hands go. I mean, Gervonta was sitting back, waiting like he normally does, and then all of a sudden he finishes him.
Popular boxing commentator and enthusiast Sauce Walka has been outspoken about the first fight, firmly believing that Roach outboxed Davis. According to Sauce, Roach's strategic approach and flawless execution clearly gave him the edge, showing a level of control and skill that Tank could not match. Sauce contends that anyone with a deep knowledge of boxing can recognize that Davis was outperformed, no matter what the judges ruled, emphasizing the need to see beyond just the official results. Now, in the rematch, all these speculations will be settled once and for all. Whether it was a referee's mistake, or if Roach truly overpowered Tank, or if Roach is simply better, every question will finally get a clear answer in the ring where it really matters.
Do you think that they should have counted that point against him? Do you think Lamont Roach won, or do you think it wasn't enough?
It could be considered a rightful draw, but I also lean towards that Lamont Roach won that fight. I believe he won the fight simply because he outclassed the champ. In boxing, you have to do two things to beat the champ. You either got to knock out the champ or completely outclass the champ. But you have to beat the champ. You're not going to just get the win because you survived or you put up a good fight. Bro lost that fight.
Facts.
Like, when you really, really know boxing and know boxing for what it really, really is, Tank lost that fight. No matter how much people, emotions and feelings are attached to it, because Tank is a hero of the hood. The ghetto loved the Tank. Gervonta Davis has been crowned king. My personal opinion, I don't think he should take the rematch, and I think he's already done what you just said. I think off of what he's already accomplished with the draw, he's already in a life-changing situation to where he could change every person around his life forever. He's now what's called a prize fighter, guaranteed. He's now what's also called a A-side fighter right now. But if he does what I like to call the Deontay Wilder and chase the legacy of getting the win, because you thinking from more of 100% on the boxing aspect than the business aspect, which Gervonta Davis has clearly showed everybody, the larger amount of his success is from the business module of the way he does boxing that was being gifted to him through Mayweather and Mayweather Promotions and PBC. But at the end of the day, so what? That's what he's supposed to do. I'm not mad at Gervonta Davis for that.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.